Good evening, everyone. We're going for try number two tonight. Last time we had some technical difficulties, which happens with technology. You guys know how it goes. We don't ever have any technological errors on Russ Explode Studios. It never happens. It happens every night. So that's to be expected with technology. So we're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna actually get to talk to Mike this time. We're just gonna get out there and we're gonna say that it's gonna work because that's how we roll. I'm gonna share out one more site here, and we're gonna get rolling with the sponsors of this fine establishment right here. All right, we're shared out, turning the Wi-Fi off, shabam. So welcome to the show tonight. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna talk with Mike James and secrets of a life coach. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to talk about the sponsors real quick. We got Codex Entertainment LLC with Luis Torres. Please check out his project VR XOXO. The link is in the description up above. That will be launching mid to the end of October. And check out his other fine books. We've got Whispers in Necropolis, Lily the Demoness, and Ace and Starlet. We've got 183 Degree Studios with Alfred Trujillo, Doobie Doobie Doo, and Miss AZ Power Girl, Kara Nicole. Check out their fine website and the link in the description above. And check out all the cool art you can grab from him, as well as their books, Fire Bitch, and their new book that'll be coming out pretty soon, Unstable Frequencies. I'm pretty excited about that. And we got Doris Jones, Labor of Love. Get a hold of Doris Jones, Labor of Love. There's a link in the description. You can get a $75 black canvas with neon acrylics. Check out that deal, $75 for an 8x10 canvas, and get a beautiful piece done by her. We got Naughty Fairies with Miss Wendy Steen Shaner. Check out Naughty Fairies Stripper Assassins. There's their Etsy link above, as well as the NFSA group. You can go in there and you can join that and check out all the cool stuff that she shares out. And she's got an anthology project coming out later this year, hopefully. And if not, it'll be the beginning of the year. But get excited because it's got a story by me. We also have Hazzum Productions with Tina and Rodney Fike. Check out their awesome books, Pitter Patter, Peanut Pudding and Jelly, and Roadkill Rampage. Roadkill Rampage 2 will be launching sometime next month, and Rodney will be live with me, and we'll be talking about that project, so please check out that show. We also have Melone Management with Lisa Malone. If you have a crowdfunding project that you're going to be dropping soon, please hit up Lisa Malone. You'll get a 1 hour free consult. She can let you know what her services are and what she charges, and she does a great job at what she does with promotion. She's a great person, so please check it out. Link is in the description for her page. And we also have DPopp Customz. Check out DPopp Customz for all those awesome print boxes, light up, go to music, and everything else. And last but not least, let's not forget about comic books for kids, charity auctions. I want to pop a link in there for the auction that's going on right now. I've been kind of under the weather with doctor's appointments and spine injections and all that good stuff. So I haven't really been promoting it a lot this month. But please check that out. All money goes towards sending comic books to kids that are sick in the hospital and in cancer centers. 100% of the profits from this auction goes towards that organization, and 100% of those funds goes towards the kids and getting them stuff. You can also check out the merchandise at my mouse is broken. I'm gonna pop that link in there real quick at ZenoNaniteTitan.com. You can get apparel. All proceeds from the apparel also goes towards the kids. There's some really cool stuff on there. We'll take a break in the middle of the show. I'll show off a couple of the pieces, and there is the website for that. So please check out that apparel. So without further ado, we're gonna bring out our guest tonight. We've got Mike James with Secrets of a Life Coach.
What's up, my man?
What's up? I can hear you. Holy bejesus. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, we're gonna have a great show tonight. We're gonna be able to chat. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna be able to talk about stuff this time. And last last time it was like Pictionary. You know, you're like trying to read my lips, and you're like, well, I think this is what he asked me. And not Pictionary, Scattergories or whatever that one is, where you like, try to guess what somebody's talking about. Whatever, lip sync. There we go. We were having a lip sync battle. I was trying to read what you were saying. You were trying to read what I was saying. The audience was confused. It was pure utter chaos. And we got Dory Jones. What's going on, Dory? How are you tonight? Thanks for joining in. So, man, I'm excited to talk to you. So, everybody's got issues. Everybody's got fun, crazy problems and stuff going on, especially me. I don't have anything going on ever. It's always non-crazy around here. But I want to skip forward, to that stuff later. I want to talk about you, man. That's what the show is all about is, inspirations, what led you to the path of being a life coach, why you got into the business, and, kind of starting out with you growing up, is a life coach what you always wanted to be, or is this something that kind of came later on?
Yeah, I love the question, by the way. Naturally, I think without there being a title called life coach, in the 80s when I grew up, I think I always was one. I like to sit with my mom's friends and have conversations with them. I found that a lot more interesting than just getting dirty in the mud, although I had those times too. And I used to like to make, breakfast for the neighbor lady, the widow down the block on Mother's Day, because I felt bad that she had nobody else to hang out with her on Mother's Day. And then as I got older in my 20s and 30s, people would confide in me and tell me things that even people I just met would tell me stuff that they hadn't told many people before, which was interesting, and I loved it. But what I think made me a good coach is I realized after a while that I was hiding behind being the guy people came to, and I wasn't coming and telling anybody anything about me. When I was really, really restless, I grew up, I used to have comfort food. My mom would buy 2 boxes of sugared cereal for her big grocery shopping adventure that would last 2 weeks. And I've got 3 other siblings. So I'd wake up before anybody else did, and I'd pour some of that sugared cereal in a Ziploc bag so I could hide that later and eat it when all the other stuff, when that ran out and we had to eat all the healthy crap. And then later on as a teenager, my parents got divorced. I went through a lot of personal things where I started smoking pot and doing drugs and going to raves and eating pills for about 10 years. So I was really miserable, and I was really interested in how people hide because I was a master at hiding really, really well. I was still the life of the party. I had a great job. I went to the gym, went to school and went to college. Yet nobody knew I was pretty miserable inside because I'd show up at friends' house on the weekends when I wasn't healthy and just go crazy partying and be the life of the party.
Just let loose and just blow off some steam and go hog wild and crazy.
Yeah, blow off some steam when I didn't realize that the steam is where the really interesting parts of life are. That's where life actually starts. So what I was blowing off was the reality of things. And it took me a long time to figure that out, and a lot of just internal work. And a lot of that started happening when I became a life coach, and all the questions I asked people. I don't believe in coaching where I tell people what to do or have them follow a certain formula. I love asking questions because I believe everybody has their own answers, and they just need to be like, all the stuff that's put on top of those answers need to be peeled away. So, and I started to peel away the things that I was covered under and that either I had put on or I had learned, and I had to unlearn them myself. And man, it's been a journey, but there's nothing better to me than, asking a really powerful question and peeling back the layers and then hearing silence. Because once you have silence, something really important is there. And it's just magic. So I love figuring out where people are hiding and helping them figure out where they're hiding from themselves, even if they don't realize it.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. That was something that we covered, on Sunday's show when I was talking about what different is, people, can be not okay on the inside and then pretend to be okay on the outside. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really vocal about, I don't look for sympathy or I'm not, looking out for attention or just, making excuses. I like to let people know, it's okay to tell people you have issues. It's okay to let that out, don't just vent to your wife or your relatives, talk to your friends. And if they're your real friends, they'll be there for you. And it's okay to say, I'm not okay. Because if you don't say you're not okay, people don't know. And, it's really good to, peel back those layers and be open with people, be transparent and just say, hey, I got a lot going on. I'm not doing good right now. Because then you learn who your real friends are, the ones that reach out and say, hey, are you doing okay? The ones that, really care for you. And, if you have a day where you feel like you don't matter, you're not important, and you go on and you say, I just feel blah today, and people reach out and say, hey, what's going on? And they message you, it helps lift you out of that. So, that's definitely one good thing, about if you have problems doing that, what you can do for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think of, 2020 during COVID where people were isolated. That was such a crazy time to reach out, whether it was on Zoom or phone calls. That was really, really important. And it's a crazy society. And I'm not saying I'm separate from it. I'm in the society. I did these things to myself, not knowing what else to do. I self-medicated for a long time, and I hid for a long time and put on the manly masks that men are supposed to wear and not talk about my emotions, pretend I didn't cry, pretend I didn't get depressed. And what are we doing? it's crazy to me that we do that when actually those are the pieces that connect. That AA saying that we're only as sick as our secrets. That's so true. For hiding stuff that just festers in, it's almost like another organ that sickens the rest of the insides. And
Yep.
bring that shit to the light. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying, and I don't mean to be at the grocery store when they're like, "Oh, hey, how are you today?" Like, "Oh my God, this happened when I was a child, and this sucks." Like, or maybe you will. I'm not trying to veer towards people what to do, but find some close friends and find some good people that you can surround yourself with and that you trust, that you can tell these things to, and see what happens.
Well, and that's the thing, it's funny that you mentioned that, and it's like my wife laughs at me, because like movies like Up, I cried like a baby on Up because it really hit home. When we got married, we had this huge trip planned to Jamaica. We were going to go to Tower Isle. We had $1,000 deposit down on it, and then 3 weeks before we got married, our her engine in her car blew up. So I had to take $1,700 of the money that was going to pay off the rest of the trip and put a new engine in the car because that's what mattered. So we're like, oh, we'll put it off. We'll just move the date so we don't lose our deposit. Well, then a week after we got married, on my way to work, I had a deer going 70 mph on the highway at 3 o'clock in the morning. It came down the overpass right as I was coming down, and I veered to miss it. So I totaled my car. And so, we watched Up, and it was like, here's this man and this woman, they fall in love, and they plan this trip, and they save for it, and then she gets sick, and then she passes away, and they keep having to take out of the money. I'm like, oh my God, that's our life. And so I started crying like a baby. My wife's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, it's so freaking sad. I'm like, don't laugh at me. I'm like, I don't care. What's masculinity? There's okay to show your feelings. You don't need to hold that stuff inside. You don't have to. See, that's one thing that's like really funny about me. I don't care. Like that stupid video I posted earlier about me singing while I was driving through the mines. I just like being stupid and having fun. And that's a big thing for people is not caring what other people think. At the end of the day, you are who you are. If you had a good day, you had fun, and five people are like, you're an idiot. Oh well, who cares what they say? It doesn't change you at the end of the day. And that's something I really hope that I imprint on my kids as they grow up is don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about what society says you should be like. You can act however you want to act, and love yourself, because that's the only person that matters. If you love yourself for who you are, that's key to being happy.
My man, yeah, one of my favorite phrases, I either read in a book or it's just one of the buzz things that goes around in the coaching community, but that it's, what people think of you is none of your business. It's none of your business. And I don't want to say who cares. That sounds very lazy, but just be open to let them think what they want. But I want to be around the people who ask questions. If they're confused about me, they have questions about me, if they feel a certain way about me and don't bring it to me, I don't know about it. So I can't react to something I don't know or explain what I don't know. Again, and that's where the communication lies. And you had said something about like, it's okay to cry. It's so absolutely true. It's not only okay, it's normal. You are a
It's
human with
normal.
feelings in a crazy human world, where we're fighting about vaccines and the shot and COVID and wearing masks amongst, racial stuff going on. And that's just what's going on that are highlighted in the media right now. But there's so many things that like, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to get upset, as long as you feel all the way through it. But yeah, and it's completely normal. That's what we forget.
Yeah, well, and that's the fun thing is like I've been driving for a long time, and like literally the other day I was driving on the highway, and like out of nowhere this bird just swoops down and just hits the windshield, and it made me cry. And my wife's like, I was on the phone with her. I was like, oh my God, I just killed a bird, and she's like, really? You're gonna be upset about that? I'm like, you wouldn't be upset that you just killed some innocent bird that was just flying home and just smoked my windshield, and I just had this terrible feeling overcome me. And she's just like, there's something wrong with you. I'm like, oh yeah, there's something wrong with me because I care about nature. I see it all day. Driving around and you see a little kitten, on the pavement, and it sickens your heart. Yeah, it happens. It's a natural thing, but it's okay to let those emotions out. You can't keep that stuff bottled inside. It's like venom. It's toxic.
And
You know.
Russell, two things are happening for me. Number one, I never want to drive with you. It sounds like you're always hitting animals. Not a
No, I've only hit a bird. Okay, the kitten was already there today.
What
All
about
right,
the
it was
deer?
really sad.
What about that deer?
Hey, you know what? That was fast food.
God, then never mind. Shotgun, I'll ride with you. But I'm with you. You know, I had in 2016, that winter going into 2017, I took out 16 or 17 mice before I finally called pest control. But one of the mice, and it was on New Year's Day of that year, I looked down and it was still breathing, and it was like caught in the trap by its arm. And I saw this mouse had nipples that were big, and I figured that it had little baby mice somewhere. It was still alive. It was probably a mom, and I picked it up and then put it in a bag and then put it out in the garbage. And then I started crying 10 minutes later because I realized, like, I think freezing to death is one of the most painful ways to die, either that or burning. And I just put this alive mom that I felt bad about out in the garbage. I was so upset. So I get it, man. And I like, it doesn't know that it's not supposed to be in my house. You know what I mean? But I just draw the line when it's starting to poop in my dog's dish, and that can make them sick. So that made me feel a little bit better about the situation. But yeah, I get it. I love animals.
I do too. So so you kind of always had this feeling that you were a good listener, and people came to you and they were able to open up to you, and you were able to unwrap those layers without even trying. So you went on this crazy 10-year binge of just self-destruction and craziness, and you're blowing off the steam and getting rid of all this horrible stuff in your life. And then you realize this is life. I need to get, my shit together. And so how did you go about, becoming a life coach? Is it something that you just like jumped right in, or is it an opportunity to just come knocking and you took it?
It's something that I jumped right in when I heard about what life coaching was, but it probably took a year. I was in LA and I ate 12 of my friends' Xanax, and I use friends term loosely because all we were doing is self-destructive stuff together. And I woke up feeling terrible the next day, not remembering anything that we had gone out the night before. Apparently, I was walking in slow motion, talking in slow motion, and the overwhelming feeling I had was I was lucky to be alive. And I left LA and I haven't been back since. I used to go out there once or twice a year to hang out with friends. And I just started really looking at my life and evaluating like who I'm hanging out with, what I'm doing, what decisions I'm making, why I'm unhappy. And I ended up meeting with a life coach at a restaurant when I'd heard about some lady I used to work with was a life coach at that time. And we met up, and after an hour and a half of telling her what I really feel called to do and really feel like the things I'm good at the end of the conversation, she told me, she's like, you have to go to this school. So I enrolled in the school and then 6 months later, the classes started. And that first weekend, I remember my whole body was like, oh my God, I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then, I learned all the skills, and then a year and a quarter later, I was certified. And then, of course, still working on myself, asking myself the same questions I would ask my clients. And then came the idea of these stories to create these storytelling albums that have just been the most phenomenal adventure that I've been on since. And yeah, it's been a ride, but like everything else is in life, you know what I mean? So that's just my ride, but it's been a lot of work. And I spent a couple of years tired, and I got mono in the process just because I think I overworked myself. But now I found a good balance of getting quiet time in addition to really promoting these albums and getting those out in the world while still maintaining a full coaching client roster. So
So what do you do in your free time? So you do this live coaching, you do some of these, and of course now because of COVID, you have to do stuff over, Zoom or StreamYard or, over the phone, and you don't really have that face-to-face interaction anymore. So, what do you do in your free time? You watch movies, play video games?
man, I felt like I haven't had much free time in the last 3 years or so. But when I do, I'm like I talked about my dogs. I go to the dog park many times during the week. I love hanging out with them. I've got a really close group of friends that, they're a group to me. They don't all hang out together, but 3 or 4 really close friends. We get together and go out to dinner, have some drinks, hang out, and socialize. But yeah, and I was taking piano lessons for 3.5 years. I am not good at it, but my whole goal was to be able to play the music because these stories that I create are really cinematic, and I want to play the music behind at least one story. So I was doing that for a while, and it's almost like my passion has taken over my life, in a good way. Like I love creating, and I've got anywhere between 9 and 12 musicians at any given point to work with the story. So my hobby has become my life these days, which is great. And then I spend about 20 to 25 minutes every day meditating. That's my vitamin for the day. That's my reset. It's when I want clarity for anything, I sit in silence, not sit and think what I should be doing next, because that's what keeps me in the same loop versus like letting life speak to me when I quiet the mind down. So I spend a lot of time quiet. And then I'm a huge reader. I love reading. I love memoirs. They're my favorite. You're going to probably hate this because of your show, but I'm not huge on fiction. So I probably read 2 fiction books a year. And then I go back to I love reading real life stories of just stuff. There's so many people have gone through crazy stuff that I could never comprehend. And of course I went through stuff that they couldn't either, but it's so fun to learn how people get through the stuff that sometimes seems insurmountable. But people fascinate me. So I spend a lot of time reading. I'm really boring, Russell. Like I used to be fun. I used to go to parties, used to hang out, used to make a lot of plans. Now I'm like, oh, I sit and stare at trees. I love filling up my bird feeder. Like I said, reading on I have 2 patios, and that's my big decision today. Which patio should I read on now? Super exciting.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody has their passion, the things that they love to do. I like reading, I
Right.
like video games, I like, watching movies and, creating, going online and harassing stuff else and, just, random stuff throughout the day, making stupid videos. I mean, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I get bored doing the same thing over and over again. And, I like to switch it up a little bit here and there. But I'm like you. Every once in a while, you got to decompress, go out, go hiking, go find a nice place somewhere to sit down and just take
Yeah.
it in. The trees, the fall. That's the best time to go hiking. I love it in the fall because all the leaves are falling. You got all the colors on the ground, and you can actually see the animals because you can see through the woods instead of just a bunch of green bushes.
Yep.
But that's something that we usually do because my wife's birthday is in November, and we a lot of times that's what we do. We find a state park somewhere, we travel to it, and a few years ago, we went and visited the Trail of Tears State Park in down towards Jackson, Missouri, which is uh, pretty close, like Cape Girardeau area, and it was beautiful up there. It was a really cool, to go through there and read the historical stuff. That's something that I like doing too, is visiting historical sites. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everything is boring to somebody, but it's not boring to you, and that's what and you're happy. I mean, that's the thing. You said your work has consumed your life, but it hasn't consumed your life in a negative way. It's consumed your life. It's become your life, and you
Yep.
enjoy doing it. And that's what everybody's dream job is finding something that they are passionate about and that they enjoy doing day in and day out. And, the best part about your job is meeting new people. Like, you had the instance where you ran into the group of old ladies at the restaurant. You guys ended up sitting together and sharing stories. And,
Yeah.
that's the kind of fun interactions, just randomly going out to eat, running into people and having a good conversation with some random stranger that you'll probably never see again.
Oh man. And we're such a society like you're in control of your life. You're in charge of how things turn out. When I don't know, I've got stuff that keep me busy, but ideally, there's some days I like to wake up like, what am I supposed to do today? I'm gonna let the day guide me versus me guiding the day. And granted, I've been very busy lately, but like you said, running into those ladies at that restaurant, you know, 3 women in their 80s that were just so much fun and so great to talk to. That was one of the I left there feeling so connected and not only to them but just to life. Like those fun surprises happen when you're open for them. And like you're talking about hiking, one of the big things I'd love to do, but obviously in the last year and a half, it's been limited, is traveling. I love to travel. I love getting on a plane and stepping off, and you're in a whole different world. And yeah, I have favorite place that I've been to, but I won't return yet because there's so many other places I want to see. But more to come with that for sure. I love traveling.
Yeah, and that was the horrible thing too. One of the people's outs was going to state parks, going hiking, going and, swimming in the river or whatever. And here in Missouri, they closed every one of the state parks now. They put up concrete barricades at all the entrances. You couldn't even go to them. All the hiking trails and stuff were closed. And so it was like, it really sucked for us because it's like, what do we go do? Then you go to the city park, it's closed. You go to the state park, it's closed. And so that was when we took up playing Pokemon Go. We would take the kids and we would go walk around the neighborhood and catch Pokemon and get out of the house. And it was something fun to do. And the kids got excited. And like, it totally sounds stupid, but it was fun. It got us out. It got us walking around and moving and breathing fresh air instead of being in here, playing the 857th game of war.
Dude, and hats off. I'm not going to take mine off because my hair looks like shit, but hats off to all parents out there. Like, I have dogs, you know what I mean? But to try and keep kids entertained, doing homework, on their computer for schoolwork, wow. Like, parents, being a parent sounds like no joke. I don't know what it's like, but I definitely hear from people what that process was like during 2020.
Would you like to see a cool science experiment we did with the kids during COVID?
Sure, as long as it's not you didn't kill another animal, I'm good. Are those pennies or
Now,
what?
how Mentos. It was Coke and Mentos, and so I told my kids, I was like, all right, guys, this is gonna be really. Like, I planned this for like weeks. I kept telling my wife, I was like, the kids are so bored out of their mind. Let's find some fun experiments for them to do. Let's do like elephant toothpaste, and let's do the Coke and Mentos. And she's like, no, that's mean. So finally, my wife was like, yeah, you're right. We need to do something fun. Like, she's like, whatever, they're gonna be really mad at you. So I get them out there, I sit them down, and I'm like, all right, guys, take the lid off of this and you're gonna drop the Mentos in, but watch it really close. It's gonna change colors. And so my daughter takes that as, let's put my face over the nozzle. And so as you can see, when you watch the video, you can see she puts one in and she takes another one out of her other hand and goes to put it in, and she's looking in the hole and just takes it straight to the face. And
Oh,
she got up and stood up and she shook her head off, and she goes over the table and grabs a handful of Mentos and does like a drive-by and drops some more in there. My son, he takes off the porch. He's all the way down the other side of the house. Like, I want nothing to do with this. So we found out who was fight or flight. So Adriana's like, I'm going to stay and fight. We're going to drop some more Mentos in here. Roderick's like, F y'all, I'm out of here. And so it was really funny. So the following week, and it was fun too, because like, my grandparents and stuff couldn't see the kids. Her mom couldn't see the kids. No, we had to stay up because with Roderick and his open heart surgeries, we couldn't risk it. Like, everything was still new, and we don't know what to do. And so it was really cool to go live with them on Facebook because they were, the grandparents were able to say hi. They were able to say hi to them and see them. Because like my grandparents, they don't have like super high tech phones that you can do stuff like this on. So it was, they were able to get on the computer and watch them and stuff, and they just thought it was the coolest thing ever that everybody could see them. So finally we had Coke Wars. We were all armed with a bottle of Coke and a Mentos, and so we were out there in swimsuits, and we just let each other have it, and it was hilarious, man. We had blast. We all ganged up on mom. We got mom completely drenched, and she was, yes, yeah. I was like, get mom. And they're like, ah, ha, ha. And Adriana's chasing around. And then you see my daughter spinning around, Coke's flying everywhere. And she falls on the ground, gets back up, starts spinning around again. And everybody was laughing. Some of my artist friends, Wendy, Shaner, and them, they all popped in. They were just having a good laugh. And it was fun, and it felt good because doing these inspirational shows helped people. It gave them an outlet, something to go watch and feel inspired by. But that was something just stupid for them to go watch and laugh and have interaction with people, even though you weren't interacting. So, yeah, like you said, last year was definitely a hard year, and that was, we found ways to cope with it, doing the Coke and Mentos and doing the elephant toothpaste, playing Pokemon Go, and just goofy stuff that it was and it was fun and it was cheap too, buy a 2 liter and a roll of Mentos.
See, and you sound like a fun dad. You're not just sending your kids off to play with the neighbors or to be in a different room. Like, you're actually in that, spraying Coke and Mentos all over the place. That's cool. That's really cool. And you got to get creative, especially during 2020.
Oh yeah, the fun thing was we went and got, those Estes rocket kits. We went and got some of those and built rockets and took them up to the high school football field and launched them up there. Because we were like, because I called the city, I was like, hey, can we launch these at the park? And they're like, oh no, we really don't want you doing that. And I was like, screw it, we'll go out to the football field because it's not like school's section. So we launched them off up there, and you want to talk about hit the deck, man? It scared the crap out of them because you hit that button, they're gone.
Yeah.
So then we got creative and we started making 2-liter bottle rockets. And we tried one of those and it ended up chasing us. And the kids are like, "Oh my God, Dad, what are you doing?" Oh yeah, we do crazy. Dad's crazy. That's why it's Russ Explode Studios. So no, no explanation needed.
Right, right.
But we got way off track here. Derailed. It never happens on the show ever. This is the first time. So. No, I'm just kidding. So what do you do? Like, not only what do you do, but what is Secrets of a Life Coach? I want you to kind of explain that to people, what the series is about. And for anybody that wants to look into it, I want to just shout it out real quick. The link to the website is in the description where you can find this, what he's going to be talking about here.
Yeah. Basically, it's a storytelling audio series. There's so many podcasts out there. No offense to podcasts. There's so many audiobooks out there. No offense to those. I know, right? No offense to those either. But I wanted something that they're almost, I always talk about them as like being mini ear movies for your soul. So there's, I've got 3 albums, and based on all the ways that people hide in the cages that they put themselves in and how people trap themselves in situations, I turned those themes into stories with how to get out of those situations. Not telling people how, but showing a character what they go through and a possible way to move forward with fresh choices and new options. So they're transformational, and someone told me once, like, this is fun self-help. And I would say it's that. It's like fun self-help, fun self-improvement, that the stories get you out of your head and into the big picture of life. So almost like I always tell people, like, if a feel-good movie had a baby with a self-improvement audiobook, this is that baby. And each album's got about 13 to 16 tracks on there of, 10 to 15 minute stories that just are bringing people peace and calm and clarity. Because again, when I say it gets people out of their head and into the big picture of life, I've got great people that I work with that make sound effects and music that create a really cinematic experience that you actually feel like you're one of the characters, and find a way forward. So and I'm working on my 4th album now, which my 3rd album took 1.5 years to make, but that's fast compared to the other 2 that took 2 years. But with COVID, that's what I was working on, and I whipped it out really fast. But it's really exciting to hear.
Whoa! Slow down with the whipping it out.
Oh, we can't do that on the show? I was just gonna take my shirt off if that's okay. No, is that okay? No.
The look on your face was priceless, man. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. You were like a deer in the headlights. Like, what? Whoa! What did I do?
I'm only interested in the shows where I can whip it out. At least request, and I can make the answer if I will do it or not. But yeah,
hey, it's not hard to do. I mean, it is Pantsless Studios. I mean, come on, man. I mean, how does anybody know we're wearing pants right now? I mean, it needs to be easy to whip it out.
Maybe you should work on your OnlyFans page. Why don't you try that?
Yeah. Oh, that's going to get shut down pretty soon. That's one of my big jokes. Everybody keeps talking about OnlyFans getting shut down. I was like, hey, man, if you're into scrap metal, now's your time. There's going to be all kinds of stripper poles going for sale on, like, Facebook Marketplace. It's just going to be overloaded. They're going to be able to build the oil pipeline out of stripper poles. That's how many there's.
And buy some cleaning supplies before you decide to use that pole.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I like the idea of the audio story series because people get bored. You sit there and you listen to inspirational stuff. They're like, it's just not very interactive. It's just real dull and I'm trying to think of the word that I'm trying to think of. It's just monotone. There we go. There's the word. And so like they're all the same. They're monotone, they're boring, they just kind of like, do this. But yours is more over, you got music to it, you got these stories that you talk about and people getting themselves in situations and them getting out of it. And so it can kind of give people who are experiencing these problems a way out, or seeing somebody else's way that they got out could spark a way for them to get out of their situation that they're in. And I've heard people listening to motivational stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, it's not for me. But this is more interesting than that, and I
Thank you.
like the idea of it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And I'd say it's a delicate marriage between the stories that I write and narrate and the music. The music is so important because I'll go back and forth with the musician, my main studio engineer that I work with, who does the mixing and mastering. And if he's working on a piece of music versus another musician, I always tell him, like, this has to be more sad for these 2 minutes. Make it sad. This one sounds light and kind of inspirational. It has to be sad here. So because there's certain emotions that I want to be conveyed. I have to tell you, Russell, like, I love, inspirational stuff, and whether it's podcasts, books, but to me, sometimes it gets to be a lot of the same thing over and over again. And I wanted to create something that, you know, there's so much information in the world. There's so much motivation, which I don't know if we need more motivation. Like, we're already killing ourselves, like running fast and obligations and to-dos and all these things keep us busy. When I wanted to create something that's transformational and something that you could learn from, that's also enjoyable. Again, it's different than someone telling you, like, try, box breathing, or, sitting on meditating for 20 minutes a day versus, there's like in the albums, there's one word that could change your entire life and right away if used. You know, there's a truth behind the dreams that we seek out. And there's cages we put ourselves in, whether it's cages of obligations, cages of comparison, even cages of parenting, cages of time, and like different ways to get us out and peel off the stuff that we put on ourselves. And granted, a lot of it's just learned. So you learned it from somewhere. It's not like we're not born self-destructive, but if it was taught to you, that's the cool thing about life. You just have to unlearn it. And I believe these storytelling albums really show different ways of how to do that in an enjoyable way.
Yeah, and it's hard to break habits. I mean,
Yes.
habits are super hard to break, and trying to do it yourself, people can tell you, stop doing that. You're hurting yourself. And it's like you can just feel yourself sucked into it, like, and there's no way out. And that's, where you step in with this. And it's like, no, there is a way out. You just gotta slowly work yourself out of it and unlearn it. It's just not human normalcy to unlearn something, because like when you learn something, technically, supposedly, you know it for life and you're going to be hooked on doing it. I mean, it's like smoking, not that I can say anything about it, but this is my like out for, dealing with pain. I have chronic pain all the time, between fibromyalgia, blown discs, and the stuff that I got going on. So it's my out. I don't really have any other out. I tried chewing gum, and it just, this just helps calm my nerves. And I drive for a living, so unfortunately I can't take anything other than like the nerve medication that I'm on, and it doesn't really help a whole lot. So it's hard to not get sucked into stuff like this, because you need a way out. And so it's great, that there's people out there like you that are willing, to take the time to spend 2 years and a year and a half developing these albums to help people find a different way. Instead of listening to a monotone guy read about, these things can help you in life, or trying to read a self-help book, or trying to talk to their friends about stuff, to give them something they can listen to on their way to work every day, and listen to stories and music, and it makes it more interesting. There's not just somebody talking. You got the music that you have developed to go along with it, like you said, and that's really cool. Hey, I need this spot to be sad. I really want the story, or this part of the story, to hit home with the person listening to it. So let's make it more sad, or let's make this part upbeat, because this is when they really pulled through and did something that a normal person couldn't do. And and it's great. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I was talking to somebody recently, and I was talking about how I describe them as being like the bite, the bruise, and the beauty of human experience. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't want to create just inspiration. Inspiration's fleeting. You could feel good for one moment and really be connected to something outside of yourself for a little bit, but the old stuff and the old patterns, and we go back to our same routines and habits, creep back in. Where I wanted something that that included all of that, like all of the hard stuff in there too, and it could be inspirational in that you have choices and options. And you called out like when somebody's driving to work, that's absolutely what I made them for. I made them for people who feel really busy, people who feel restless, like I was for a long time, or people who feel stuck in their situations, not knowing where to turn or what to do to find something else other than the life that they're living, and knowing that there's a different way to feel and a different way to approach things. So they are for those people that, and they can listen while they're driving, mowing the lawn. Exercising is a big one. You know, I did some market research probably a year ago this time, and I found out like a lot of people exercise when listening, which is interesting. And, but, clean the house, mowing the lawn. Those are the best times to, again, people keep talking about them as escapism, but what's interesting about that, I didn't want to create something where people escape their lives, but I think what they mean by escapism is they get out of their current situation and realize that there's other situations they could get into, which is the opposite of escape. It's just a new path and a new way forward. But it's fun, man, and it's I just love hearing comments from people, and one of my favorite comments I get from people who listen. I'll get a message on Facebook, or someone will text me, you wrote this story. I'll use Crowded Room on the first album. A lot of women resonate with that because it's a lot of things that women are taught in their lives. And I hear from a lot of women, is this about me? Ha ha ha. And right away I'm like, yep. And I say that. I didn't write that with that person in mind, but any of the stories that resonate with someone, it is about you. And it is about me. It's the things I've heard, little versions of things that I've done as well. But that's the best compliment, because people are identifying with like, I have this exact situation. So this feels so nice to hear. Since, like we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, we don't talk about this stuff with people. We just smile, make sure everything's okay, use humor. We're very, very creative in how to keep people away from us versus how to let them in. And I think that's boring. I don't want to keep people away from me anymore. I did that for a long time. And I say this creating this stuff like I did it too. I'm nowhere removed from it. I am not an expert in anything. I just did all this stuff and I found my way out of it. I just really want to help people to help them find their way out of it too.
And that's a great way to look at it.
Thanks, man. Yeah. And a lot
So
of
let's
work.
change. Oh, yeah, it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So let's change gears a little bit. So you talked about you don't really like fiction a whole lot, and you like reading nonfiction and stories about real life. Oh my gosh, broken part. Real life instances. So what
Like,
is your favorite fiction book, and what is your favorite nonfiction book?
ooh, I love the question. My favorite fiction book is probably Stephen King's. Oh man, what is the name of this book? Do you read Stephen King at all?
Yeah, there's The Dark Tower. There's
I know
The
there's
Mist.
Gerald's Game.
Uh,
There's a book called Gerald's Game by Stephen King, and it's about a woman who's kind of looking at her husband. She's not really attracted to him anymore. They don't have a great relationship, but he takes her to a cabin. He wants to try some crazy sexual stuff, so he handcuffs her to the bed. At the last minute, she decides, like, I don't want to do this, and he gets upset. And this is all at the beginning of the book. I'm not giving it away. He gets upset and tries to jump on her and force himself on her. She's like, no, I'm actually not role-playing. I don't want to do this anymore. She kicks him, has a heart attack, and he dies. So she's in the cabin, a cabin in the middle of the woods, handcuffed, naked to a bed, with this door swimming open at the cabin, doors swinging in the woods, and you can hear a dog barking in the background. The book I thought was fantastic. So probably my favorite fiction book. And my favorite nonfiction book, man, that's a hard one. There's so many great memoirs out there, but you could judge me all you want, as I judge myself pretending it's you, is Eat, Pray, Love. I thought the movie was terrible, But I think that book is, I think I've read it 3 times already. I love the book. I love the stories of someone going through some stuff, going on a journey and removing themselves from all the shit to find themselves. And it gets very deep into meditation and just spirituality, and then the return on investment, so to speak, how she overcame it. I love that book.
I'll have to check it out. I'm not going to judge.
Yeah,
I'll try anything once, and if I like it, I'll try it twice, right?
sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or
Don't
3 times, like you.
right. Or how many times I tried all the chemicals I tried in my 20s. Don't do that. But yeah, man, it's a phenomenal book, and it's funny, and you just get to know the character really, really. It's not even a character; it's a real person. But I really love that book.
So, what's your favorite movie,
Ooh,
past and present?
quick answer. I will say, past as a kid. It's not a movie. I just watched the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller over and over again. But
Oh, can you do the moonwalk?
dude, yeah, I can. I used to do talent shows in high school, dancing like Michael Jackson, not singing. I lip sing, but yeah, I could do all that stuff. It probably looks a little different nowadays than it did when I was 16 or 17. But but favorite movies nowadays are Forrest Gump and American Beauty. I watch those at least. Probably watch those once a year because I love the feeling I get from them. Especially American Beauty. Again, American Beauty's got that beautiful side to life, but also the dark side, and it's life. Both are included, and I'm not really interested in a lot of movies that don't include both. Have you seen American Beauty?
Yeah.
Oof. What do you think?
I think it's a great movie because, like you said, it shows both sides of life. It shows light and the dark. It shows that how they can coexist in a person. They can have the 2 different types of personalities. I mean, you don't really know a person. I see one of the greatest quotes I think I've ever seen. I want to say yesterday. I was scrolling through, and somebody said, "Have you ever thought about it? There's one true version of you exists, and there's hundreds of thousands of other versions of you that exist in other people's minds." And I never really thought about that before.
Oh my God, that's it's so true, and that's beautifully worded. And so, why are we worrying so much about what other people think? Because if you even focus on one person, what they're worrying, the other person views you in a total different light. One of the things that I love about being a human being is that you could be looked at as someone who's just like, not as a saint, but someone like, they really, like, one person might really envy you, while another person might think you're batshit crazy. And none of it's true or false. It's their interpretation of you. And okay, it makes life more colorful versus like, and we all do it. We've got little slots and categories that we put people in our lives into, that when we think of them, like, this person's like this, when we're changing every single day, we're always different people, learning new things in different circumstances, growing or not. But if we ask more questions of where someone's at today versus assuming like, I would never call that person 3 years ago, blah, blah, blah. Like, that was 3 years ago. A lot of shit can change. And like, yeah, but I love that. There are so many different versions of ourselves that exist in other people's minds. It's so true. So why worry about it so much?
That's right. Well, cool, man. I really like what you're doing. I really like, the things that you've got going on. I'm going to give you a minute to tell everybody once again who you are, where they can find you, and what Secrets of Life, which is all about.
Yeah, thanks, Russell. So again, I'm Mike James. I am a life coach, and I'm the creator of the Secrets of a Life Coach audio series, which are transformational self-improvement stories that empower the busy, the restless, and the stuck with fresh choices. So it's an audio series, mini ear movies for your soul, that can be found on iTunes or Amazon. But if you just go to mikejamesnow.com, you can sample. I've got a story sample from each album, and you can check out the albums that way, and click right there and purchase them on Amazon if you want to. It's got a little bit more about me. You'll love the stories. It'll get you out of your head and really more into your life by seeing where you're at, and it'll provide you with fresh options and choices for change. And at the very least, what I'll do is provide you with a sense of peace and calm and clarity while you're listening. So enjoy it. And Russell, thank you so much for having me on. It's been fantastic talking with you. You're a lot of fun.
You want to unmute me?
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I can hear you. I was waiting for it to unmute my mic. I clicked unmute, and it was just like it clicked, but it didn't do anything. I was like, all right, can I talk now? But yeah, no, you're very welcome. I appreciate you being on. I appreciate you sharing, your inspirations, your motivational speaking, and your Secrets of a Life Coach audio series. I really hope people will go check it out. At least, guys, please go check out the website. And thanks for being on. And when your next one releases, or if you ever want to come back, you're definitely welcome to come back, man.
I will, my man. I appreciate it. I hope you feel better. I know you've been going through some stuff, and let me know if there's anything I do to help.
I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna take you to the green room. I'll be right back.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Thanks for checking out the show. Please go to MikeJamesNow.com. The link is in the comments on both, all three platforms. So you guys there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Guys, please go check that out. If you know somebody that's going through some stuff, please tell them to go check out the website. Maybe they'll find that they might like it and they'll purchase it, and it could help them get through some shit. I mean, that's what it's all about, being there for each other. If you got friends that are going through stuff, don't let them go through stuff alone. If you feel like something's going on, you haven't heard from somebody, you hear from them constantly, reach out to them. Say, hey man, are you doing okay? Worst comes to worst, they're like, yeah, I'm fine. What's up? But you never know. People get in dark places. I've been there. Back in March, I went and got help. I went and told the doctor. I said, I'm not okay anymore. I said, I've been dealing with this for a long time. The depression's really gotten to me. I'm doing really bad. I don't even want to be alive anymore. And, we need to be open about stuff. If anybody's watching this, or anybody goes back and watches this and you're going through some stuff, reach out to somebody. There are people who care about you out there. Go online, drop a post, say, I'm not okay. People are going to reach out to you and help you and talk you through stuff. Seek out help. There's always going to be somebody out there to help you. A lot of jobs, my job offers a hotline that you can call. It's totally anonymous. You call in and you talk to them about your problems, and they're none the wiser. They don't know who you are or where you are or where you're calling from. They're just there to talk to people. Do what Mike does. Talk people. What's going on with your life right now. So guys, you're not alone. There's always somebody out there that's going to help you. Please reach out for help. Please reach out to your friends if you don't hear from them. Be there for one another. One thing we need to learn to do more as humans and as Americans is be compassionate for each other and be there for each other. Stop the stupidity of fighting and hating on each other and racism and sexism and blah, 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 blah. We can go on all day about it. Just be compassionate. Love your neighbors, love your friends, reach out to them, help them any way you can, offer them the shirt off your back. Because at the end of the day, you'll feel better knowing that you help somebody than just being a D-bag. That's just the truth of it. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Check out MikeJamesNow.com. Please go check out the Comic Books for Kids charity auctions. It is still going right now. We got the September stuff up. The link is in the comments, as well as the website, ZenoNaniteTitan.com. Please check out Nanite Titan. You got an inspirational book here with a story with a lot of stuff included from my life, and it's a great story. It's a roller coaster ride, and you can get Comic Books for Kids official apparel on there. 100% of the proceeds from the auction and the apparel goes towards the kids in hospitals and cancer centers everywhere. You could be the reason a parent sees their kid smile for the last time. And that's the ultimate truth of what Comic Books for Kids does. You could be donating money that sends a comic to a parent that watches their dying child smile one more time because they're enjoying the comic book or they're enjoying a toy that they got. This is really important to me as a father to a heart kid. We never know, anytime something could happen. And so I'm really passionate about this charity. So guys, please, if you feel the need to donate, if you want to donate something to the auction, please check out the auction, share it on your pages, share it to your friends, get the word out there that we're doing God's work here. We're helping kids, we're helping parents, and it's a great thing. So guys, thanks so much for watching tonight. I will see you guys again probably Saturday, I think, is when we're going to do the live auction for Comic Books for Kids. I will keep you guys updated. You guys have a great week. As always, this is Russ Explode Studios with projects and creators and people that'll just blow your mind. You guys have a great week.